Hello and welcome to the Simplified Organization podcast, a show for busy moms who are looking for practical help in managing their homes and families for God's glory. We keep it real without complaining, and we help women overcome overwhelm and perfectionism, which often comes when we play the comparison game. I'm your host, Misty Winkler. I write and podcast at simplyconvivial.com about homemaking, homeschooling, and doing life cheerfully. Today, I have part 2 of my conversation with mentor level community member Dawn Simpson. Dawn is a grateful mom of quirky kids who enjoys the privilege of homeschooling. When she's not homeschooling, she is often riding roller coasters, literally, with her enthusiastic husband, studying her latest interest, or having deep, passionate conversations with her teens. Dawn is one of our go-to people inside Convivial Circle, our private membership community. And I'm excited to share with you her tips for homemakers today. So I think you have one of your favorite tips for us. What kind of tip would you like to share?
Other than the container organization idea, I wanted to reiterate the idea of brain dumping. I know it's your go-to tool, and it's really, really true that because I know you gave us a selection of questions that we might want to speak about. Of course, you're giving us freedom to speak about what's on our heart. And um, but all those questions, my first thought was, oh, if you're overwhelmed, brain dump. If you're feeling scattered, there's confusion all around you, brain dump. If you're upset and you don't know why, brain dump. I mean, I could answer it for everyone. Like, if you can't stick with a plan, well, ask yourself why and brain dump. So it was funny. If I'm irritated or tired, why am I irritated? I could brain dump about it. What's making me tired? Well, I'm not sleeping well. Or it was ironic that I could sit and think about that for everything, because brain dumping is great if you want to generate creative ideas. If you want and you can't talk about it with someone, you can write it out. If you can't, I'm a verbal processor, so I talk a lot. And it's hard sometimes. I'll be writing furiously. If you have a project, a to-do list, if you want to journal about things. And I did want to say that the attitude, I wrote this down too, in a note, because it was really good. The attitude courses that you have prompts to brain dump deeper. If you need to go deeper, and they're great for springboarding often to other I thought you didn't realize you needed to think about. And then you can just brain dump prayer requests. I mean, I've already filled up the 5 here. So you could brain dump prayer requests that needs you see in the world and write them all down. So it's just a great tool, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I know. I forget. It was some kind of member meetup. It was on Zoom. And we were talking about brain dumping and about how it's kind of like peeling an onion back, where there are
Mhm.
layers and layers, where you think, okay, I'm just going to brain dump this one thing. And it's not like you get to a point where you're not brain dumping anymore, because there's always something going on. And it's just a way to figure out what's in my head and what do I need to do about it. And it's just a way to process.
And I told my kids that I find it's hard for me to pay attention, that I used to go places and have an impeccable memory about everything. But it's harder now because my mind is so full. So brain dumping is almost like a necessity. It is a necessity because there are things I realize things that I miss or forgot to do because I didn't think about it because I had no brain space.
Yeah.
So I brain dump all the time, like crazy, every day, all the time. I have tons of notes in my notes app because I'm constantly coming up with ideas and things I'd like to do. And I put it down, and they don't all get deleted. Some just get shoved off till another day. So
So I know some people are kind of nervous about brain dumping, or they feel uncertain after they get to that point where they've maybe filled a lot of pages and then maybe think they're supposed to do it all. Well, what do I do with all of this now? So if you are brain dumping all the time, you have notes on your phone and things on paper, then what do you do after the brain dump?
Well, I'm trying to make a practice because I still feel a lot of stuff and have lots of lists and never get to them and get frustrated and um it even sometimes it'll depress me because I can't make any headway. And then I remember and I'm trying to make it a practice to pray over everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's all down to what does God want me to do with my time?
Hmm.
And it's all I'm looking for him to guide me. And it's funny, some things I think are really important will get scratched off and something I didn't think was that important gets moved to the front.
Hmm.
And I'll end up doing that and it ends up being a good thing. Um, it's the same way with things you're anxious about. They're really not as bad as you thought if you just got started with it. And brain dump's a great way to start, you
Hmm.
know? So,
Yeah, it
and you're
really
always
does.
saying, start small. Start with a teeny tiny, you can't miss it kind of thing to do. And something you'd feel silly about not doing and just do it. It works. So, needless to say, a lot of what I'm saying is stuff you say. So,
Well,
I've
it's
learned
just
a lot through your courses.
thank you. Yeah, it's been fun because how long have you been a member? It's been we
I'm thinking I'm thinking 2016 might have been.
yeah.
I had a Sarah McKenzie interview, and then Sarah McKenzie was a school A sister, and then it just came around, and I got everybody after that. And then it's funny how even this summer, Pam Barnhill was meeting with a couple other ladies and doing some homeschooling stuff, and I met another lady who has really benefited our homeschooling experience.
Yes.
So it's nice how everything's connected just right. How
Yeah.
you wouldn't think it really when people go, "Oh, wow, it's really a small world." It really is when God's the one weaving everything. It's actually instead of going the long way around, you could take little jumps and shortcuts through wormholes. The sci-fi person, there's a wormhole appears and you get there quicker and it's the Lord knitted it together so that it worked.
Yes,
So,
it's so fun when
yes.
that happens with just those
I know.
providential meetings.
I know, it is so funny. Oh, we have plenty of those. Oh, and if I could say this, I've appreciated how your book is it's like your course material is in your book, but it's more. And I love that those questions are really probing. So they're seeking, you can really go somewhere with the questions at the end. So I've read a lot of it and I want to finish reading it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to read it real fast to go through it. And then I want to go back and answer those questions and brain dump them.
Well, I was going to say they're brain dump prompts.
Yes, they are. They are. And it is so good to have journaling prompts because, especially if we feel stuck, it's
Mhm.
nice to have a place to start.
Yeah.
As I'm reading the book, if someone were to ask me, what do you think? I'd be stuck, but then the question's there, and then you can actually apply it and work it out.
Yeah, it's so easy to get kind of stuck in our heads and
Hmm.
like go on an endless loop and not even be sure of what you're thinking or where you're going, and it just is all of a jumble. It's like a cluttered storage unit.
And that's what I feel like my brain is most times is a cluttered storage unit. That is a great metaphor. Yes. That is absolutely true. And it is brain dumps are great too if you start to spiral down,
Mhm.
which I do. I will start to spiral and I'll end up in the depths of despair. And a brain dump can pull you out and help you refocus.
Mhm. It can. Well, thank you so much, Dawn. This has been so great and helpful and such a good conversation. So thank you for coming and sharing.
Oh, you're welcome. And it was my prayer that it would be helpful.
It is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Simplified Organization podcast. A brain dump really is a helpful go-to solution, but it can seem confusing or like a lot of extra work when you've not tried it before. So if you want help getting started with brain dumping, then go to simplyconvivial.com/braindump, or you can find the link below, simplyconvivial.com/braindump, and get our free brain dump guide that will walk you through how the process works and also why the process works. And then, as Dawn recommended, pray through your brain dump in order to repent, rejoice, and repeat.